Uno. Muffin Bowl. Dime. Eso.
Than a dozen ICE officers that had converged on Canal Street. We went down there, and these are our cameras right now that are playing out as all of this is happening. We'll have a live report at the top of the 5 o'clock. Of course, you know, there are many migrant vendors that are there on Canal Street, and now we're told that so many of them cleared out as they heard ICE was coming. Some people screamed out that ICE was coming, and I'm told that one of those, at least one person, was arrested for alerting the vendors. We'll continue to watch these live pictures. I have the very latest at 5 o'clock.
Welcome to NYC Now, your source for local news in and around New York City. From WNYC. It's Thursday, October 23rd. Here's the midday news from Veronica Del Valle.
Some New York City council members and clergy leaders are condemning the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in New York City days after a federal raid on Canal Street.
Everybody back it up. Let's go. Get back. Let's go right now. Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Ya, vamos a ver cómo Olmo probando uno. Te he enseñado muchas veces, mira, tú lo doblas así, así. Mira, tú lo doblas así. Doblas así.
Grace. A disgrace. Protecting these people. Shame. You you. Out of Oakland now. Here, get the out. Get out.
Yeah, pues no protesta, no protesta. Mira.
Who are you protecting?
Here, protesters to our right with signs. We do have
no hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Nobody has wanted on the surface. Officers have passed on here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate.
There are lots of VPNs out there at all different price points. Many of them are even free. So should you use a free VPN? In this video, we'll break down the advantages and the disadvantages of free VPNs to help you make an informed decision. But first, let's talk for...
All right, let's go back to the protest.
We're not going to allow any outside forces come here to create chaos.
Confirmation Friday afternoon. A planned federal immigration surge has been canceled for the greater Bay Area, not just San Francisco. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee made the announcement Friday.
My understanding was that they were leaving the area. No details. The sheriff did confirm, though, that she spoke with ICE and that operation that had been designated by the president has been canceled. And that was for a radius of 40 miles within this area.
There's been concern since federal agents arrived at Coast Guard Island in Alameda for a plan.
We have just walked from Canal Street to the ICE headquarters here in Foley Square.
Breaking news, immigration status.
The Department of Homeland Security, ICE, HSI, ARO, and other federal law enforcement agents have been targeting street vendors who are simply trying to make a living in our city and arresting them today. They started from Church and made their way down to Lafayette on Canal Street, and ordinary New Yorkers stood up to fight back against what we're seeing happen in our streets here in New York City, which is just completely and utterly horrifying, to be honest with you.
Would you say this is a new level of enforcement that we have seen in New York, or is this business as usual? We don't typically see it in front of cameras.
Have you ever seen 50 to 100 federal agents mobbing a street and beating up people on the street? Because that's exactly what just happened. They were beating up U.S. citizens, and this is what we're seeing happen, unfold in real time. This is supposed to be a democracy. We're supposed to be a nation of rule and law. And what we're ending up seeing is fascist tactics and authoritarian tactics being used in cities like New York right now.
Kind of paint a picture for me, for people who couldn't see this, about folks just kind of joining in and following these ICE agents in their vehicles, to the fact that they had to get an armored vehicle out here and have canisters of tear gas at the ready in case this really kind of spiraled out of control. The spontaneous protest. Talk about that.
The spontaneous protest occurred because ordinary New Yorkers see other New Yorkers being hurt and vilified by these individuals. Of course, anyone who sees someone being wrongfully targeted is going to take some form of action. And to see military vehicles driving down the streets of New York City, we don't need boots on the ground. We need the federal government to actually invest in the supports that New Yorkers need, which includes reopening the government.
Action against those West African immigrants who are here trying to get citizenship and then selling those counterfeit merchandise on one of the most famous streets in the city. So right now we're waiting to get a comment from ICE about what exactly unfolded here, how this spiraled out of control that ultimately led to armored cars and boots on the ground here downtown tonight, and the arrests of protesters happening as well. That is the latest live here in Lower Manhattan. I'm Anthony DiLorenzo, Pix 11 News.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Well,
imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
I've been coming to demonstrations on and off because I'm concerned around ICE coming to town. I've lived in neighborhoods where immigrants have lived for a long, long time. I've been organizing in Brooklyn. So
immigration.
To build some momentum, especially after yesterday, that we have some rapid response teams ready for when there's more of these activities so the neighborhood can show up. So it's very frightening. Who's getting taken? Who's getting arrested? You know, it seems indiscriminate, really. Other than
who's getting arrested?
I'm in a position where I'm probably not going to get snatched, and so that means I have a
Now we're gonna
responsibility
get
to stand up for
snatched.
people that maybe are not, don't have the wherewithal to do
No,
that.
no, no, no.
Good morning to you, Craig and Vanessa. The images were so jarring when those raids went down on Tuesday, as 9 people were arrested by federal agents. And now the city council getting involved. They are vowing to push back against this. Take a look at the images that we have from a protest last night. These protests, peaceful, have been continuing ever since the moment of these arrests. Not only did people yesterday on Tuesday form a human shield, but last night a peaceful march, a show of solidarity from ICE headquarters in Lower Manhattan to Canal Street, the site of those spontaneous protests to protect street vendors from being hauled away by ICE agents. Now, 4 of those arrested were American citizens, only released after 24 hours of being detained and no charges filed, but only after their families had filed missing persons reports. The NYPD saying it had no involvement. City Hall also denying any part in the actions. 2 of those 9 men arrested do have criminal records. 2 others had been previously ordered removed, according to the Department of Homeland Security. All were immigrants from Africa, with DHS saying they have prior criminal charges.
This is lawless terror designed to incite violence, to create a pretext for Donald Trump to send the military into New York City.
They're scared. They don't want to go back home. We don't think, New York will become like this.
It is our job to be here peacefully, protesting, and making ourselves heard that it is not okay what's happening right now.
Now, ICE in a statement saying on Tuesday they were executing an intelligence-driven operation to address lawlessness by illegal aliens. Today, the City Council holding a briefing this morning, demanding that the president not deploy federal agents to New York, even as, according to City Council members, immigration agents are vowing this is just the beginning. Now, the president has consistently cited lawlessness in major cities across America when sending in federal agents. A reminder, here in New York, the statistics show a very different story. This year alone, one of the safest ever on record, with a 20% reduction in shooting incidents so far citywide. We're live at City Hall. We're waiting for that press briefing from City Councilor Kirsten Cole, Pix 11 News. To you, Craig and Vanessa.
If you have SNAP or Medicaid, you may qualify for a free iPhone or Samsung, plus up to 10 gigabytes of data. Apply online in just 2 minutes. We'll ship it to you for free. Phones are limited, so visit tagmobile.com to check your eligibility today.
Largely peaceful protests tonight in Lower Manhattan compared to what we showed you last night, with federal agents swarming in to clear out street vendors in Chinatown. But this may not be the last time we'll see this. The feds are now warning of more arrests. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger with the protesters tonight.
Cámara
Hundreds of
virtual.
protesters gathered tonight, awakened and angry.
Hands off our families, our friends, our communities, and hands off New York City.
Their fury unleashed at the latest demonstration of federal power in their town.
With no respect for any rules, no respect for humanity.
24 hours earlier, just a few blocks away, it was chaos. Dozens of federal agents, masks up, tasers out, swarmed a stretch of Canal Street notorious for street hucksters and their knockoff handbags. ICE hauled away 9 of them, undocumented, some with long rap sheets.
Especially that are being harbored in from the lack of cooperation in New York City. So you will see us making those criminal arrests to make New York safe again.
But critics of the Trump administration see a more sinister motivation.
Every action that transpired was an escalation attempt by those agents looking for a response that would allow them to escalate further.
To provide a rationale, activists claim, for more actions in a sanctuary city. Meanwhile, it wasn't just undocumented immigrants scooped up yesterday. At least 4 American citizens were also arrested by federal agents, according to Congressman Dan Goldman.
They were released today without any
Primary
charges. There was no basis.
ingest
ICE
server.
is not allowed to arrest American citizens. They spent the night in 26 Federal Plaza in detention, immigration detention. American citizens for nothing.
The protesters made their way here, right in front of 26 Federal Plaza. This is the New York headquarters of ICE. All of this as the Trump administration continues to threaten increased immigration crackdowns here on the streets of New York. In Lower Manhattan, Josh Einiger, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Ordenar, eliminar, bloquear, abrir folleto de lista.
2000 runway.
eBay 2025. Dior from eBay.
Back with the baguettes.
Fendi, guaranteed authentic. Let me guess.
eBay.
eBay.
Same.
Millions of pre-loved finds backed by authenticity guarantee. eBay. Things people love.
No.
ICE is trying to kidnap our neighbors off the streets.
That's Walker and Charlie.
I was standing in a crosswalk. We cannot stand as New Yorkers for this to happen.
Hundreds of people peacefully protested through the streets of Lower Manhattan, rallying across from ICE headquarters and marching to Canal Street, the site of Tuesday's ICE raid that devolved into mayhem. People spontaneously created a human shield between federal agents and their targets. An ICE spokesperson said in a statement, they were executing an intelligence-driven operation on the lawless and illegal aliens. 2 of the 9 men arrested have criminal records, and 2 others were previously ordered removed, according to the federal agency.
You will see an increase in ICE arrests because there are so many criminally illegal aliens that have been released in New York specifically.
The streets are unsafe because, ICE is here just, disrupting neighborhoods, disrupting businesses, pulling people off the street.
A day later, all the vendors had vanished.
They're scared. They don't want to go back home. We didn't think, New York will become like this.
Among the arrests by ICE Tuesday, we learned from officials 4 were Americans. Released 24 hours later without charges.
Their families filed missing people's reports on them and only found out that ICE had them.
Congressman Dan Goldman and protesters predict it's a precursor of what's to come.
This is lawless terror designed to incite violence, to create a pretext for Donald Trump to send the military into New York City.
It is our job to be here peacefully, protesting, and making ourselves heard that it is not okay what's happening right now.
People have to say something. They have to not be scared. They have to stand up.
The way they come out, it's not looking for criminal. They come out to terrorize the community, you know, and them on your own citizen.
Quanta plata.
He's not a criminal. He's a vendor. He's a vendor. He sells cell phone cases, and he been out here.
I tell you, a lot of people scared of going out right now because I look like an Asian, so I'm illegal. So if it's a white man, is he not illegal? Come on, what he did right now? It's really racist.
No, porque yo estoy... Yo estoy poniendo noticias y yo estoy poniendo...
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small businesses easily reach thousands of customers. It writes sweet social ads and email marketing. It even analyzes the results to boost business. I better start up in my game with some sweet new moves.
No, eso no me afecta, todavía no me ha mandado ningún. Música yo creo que no se puede.
New tensions to report over immigration arrests in major cities on both coasts. In Los Angeles, a U.S. Marshal and a driver accused of living in the U.S. illegally were shot and wounded by an ICE agent during a traffic stop. This is the aftermath. In New York, protesters took to the streets in Chinatown. Tom Hansen is in New York's Federal Plaza with more.
Agents descended on Canal Street in Chinatown, targeting street vendors allegedly selling designer knockoffs. As protesters made their way to the Federal Plaza to demand the release of ICE detainees, more agents arrived, armed in combat gear and a military vehicle. In Los Angeles, a crowd gathered outside a hospital demanding answers after a driver was shot during what Homeland Security called a targeted traffic stop. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the driver, Carlitos Ricardo Padias, a suspected undocumented immigrant, rammed his car into agents' vehicles during the stop and refused to obey orders. Authorities say that's when a federal agent opened fire, hitting and injuring Padias and a U.S. Marshal. Padias, a TikToker who goes by Richard L.A., is known for documenting immigration enforcement activity in Southern California.
What we know about Richard is he's a very pacifist man.
Richard L.A. was recently recognized for his online posts.
The police officers here know him. They know that he's very respectful. In fact, the city of Los Angeles has awarded him for the work that he does in the community.
Now, Padias has been charged with...
There's DIY, and there's doing it yourself. It's the difference between being creative and being a creator. Between a homemade recipe and a household name. Between a daydream And a dream job. It's your business, your hard work. You do it yourself. Create your website on Wix.
Y tú tienes, hay música que te da la oportunidad, y hay música que te dan que no te da la oportunidad. Por ejemplo, no toda la música te dan right.
Shouts and confusion during an ice raid on New York City's Canal Street. Tonight, the Department of Homeland Security responding after the enforcement operation prompted backlash from Democratic officials in New York.
None of this is about public safety. It is about fear and chaos.
DHS saying this was a targeted raid, resulting in 9 arrests of suspects in the country illegally, with criminal histories including robbery, assault, domestic violence, and drug trafficking.
We arrested criminally illegal aliens that have horrible rap sheets. So is that the people they want to protect? I don't think so.
And new details on this operation that ended in gunfire in LA's popular fashion district. This video shows officers arresting Carlitos Ricardo Perias, who documents ICE activity on TikTok. Prosecutors say when federal officers tried to serve an immigration arrest warrant on Perias, he repeatedly rammed officers' vehicles, his spinning tires creating smoke. One ICE agent fired his handgun, wounding both Perias and a deputy U.S. Marshal hit by a ricochet.
Almost daily, we have 2 to 3 of these ramming incidents, which is a deadly force. You know, and it's putting our officers and agents at risk.
Tonight, Perias' attorney says he is described as a pillar of the very community he was arrested in.
And a lot of members of that community, they depend on him for knowledge as to what's going on around them.
Morgan joins us now live. Morgan, I know our reporters have just broken a story about recruits trying to join ICE ranks.
Yeah, Tom, in the rush to hire these new federal immigration officers, one current and 2 former DHS officials telling us that recruits are going into training before they've completed the agency's vetting process. DHS says that most recruits have former law enforcement training and have already been through other training as well.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
Running was never something that I thought I would do again.
This doctor says, lose weight or you're gonna die.
Come on down, folks. Welcome to the final celebration.
For you.
Sponsored by New Balance. We got now.
This evening, there are protests underway in New York City at this hour, 24 hours after ICE swept in, making arrests along Lower Manhattan's Canal Street, known for tourists and shoppers looking for designer knockoffs. Tonight, we're learning more about who was arrested, and this evening, new claims about some who were detained as well. Matt Rivers in Lower Manhattan again tonight.
All unite for immigrant rights! Tonight, new protests in Lower Manhattan. Just 24 hours after that chaotic federal immigration raid targeting street vendors along New York City's famed Canal Street. ICE says it arrested 9 undocumented immigrants during an operation aimed at the sale of counterfeit goods.
It's definitely intelligence-driven. It's not random. We're just not pulling people off the street.
DHS says a handful of protesters were also arrested, but later released without charges. New York Congressman Dan Goldman today blasting ICE for allegedly detaining American citizens.
This is a militarized effort to incite tension, passion, and inflame the communities in New York City.
New York's Attorney General now asking members of the public to turn over videos documenting the actions of federal officers. Tonight, we're learning DHS now surging resources to San Francisco. ABC News learning a Coast Guard base nearby will host border protection agents starting today. And David, protests underway once again tonight here in Lower Manhattan. The message here tonight, a clear one. ICE should leave New York City, but the acting director of ICE says the city can expect more immigration arrests in the weeks to come. David?
All right, Matt Rivers on the scene again tonight for us. Matt, thank you.
Unlock the world's largest, most liquid financial market with Forex.com. Forex, or FX.
Ding dong, ding dong.
York City's Canal Street, where immigration and custom enforcement and other federal agents targeted street vendors Tuesday in an immigration enforcement sweep. This part of Chinatown has long been a not-so-underground market for knockoff designer handbags, perfumes, electronics, and more. The Department of Homeland Security said 9 people in the country illegally were arrested in the raid. Not far from City Hall, agents conducted an operation against sellers of counterfeit goods, according to the department. ICE, Border Patrol, and other federal agents tried to clear the streets, at times shoving protesters to the ground and threatening them with pepper spray before making arrests. 5 protesters were arrested on various alleged charges.
A lot of people are scared. If I wasn't legal, I would be scared too, because what if I went under the custody? What if they took me?
As you can see behind me, the street has returned to business as usual for now. While clashes between immigration authorities and protesters have broken out in places like Los Angeles and other cities, such scenes are rarer on New York streets.
Canal Street, a famous destination for bargain shopping and knockoff designer goods, descending into chaos yesterday. Federal officers, including ICE agents, searching the street for undocumented immigrants as part of an operation the Homeland Security Department says was focused on criminal activity relating to selling counterfeit goods. Vendors packing up their goods, trying to flee. Agents making multiple arrests.
It's gotten a little hairy at points, with people running, people falling down in the street, and federal agents running after them.
Crowds forming as bystanders and protesters confronted the agents.
Destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Bang, bang, bang. This thing. Oh. Damn. Do that. Tanta plata aquí.